In this video, we're going to explore how you can create a gauge chart in ChartJS. And if you really look carefully at this, you might say, well, this is not really a gauge chart. This is more a donut chart that is cut in half. And that is correct. We're going to use some tricks here to play around to create a look and feel of a gauge chart, while in reality, it is a different type of chart. ChartJS basically has 8 types of charts you can use. However, if you play around with all the controls, you can make more different types. As this is right now a speedometer type of gauge chart, we have made another one which is like a bar type of gauge chart, and you can do many different ways to play around with this. However, for now we're going to make this one, and you will notice that this is slightly more tricky than normal because we have to put in far more options than the standard chart. However, that is of course a great challenge for you to learn and to become more proficient in ChartJS. Alright, so what we're going to do is, well, first a quick note is the following. We're using ChartJS 2.9.x, or to be more specific, ChartJS 2.9.4. I'm aware there's a version of ChartJS 3.0 currently in beta, which will be very exciting. However, and as of now, we just keep it for as it is. We will be using 2.9 because that's the most common one used for now. So let's look at this ChartJS, what we're going to make. Number one, you can see here we have the values, which is the complete value in green. And this value, including the black part, is 75. And you will see that this gray area here, which is 25, will adjust if we increase values here, as you can see. And if we want to adjust the pointer, you can see now, if you look carefully here, you will see that the black area or the pointer thickness starts to disappear, and the sales score will maintain because it's basically part of the sales score. However, we have a maximum here of 5, and we have here for the sales score, if we can go up to 100 points, which is the 100% score. Next, what we can do here is we're going to adjust the color. Let's say you have a brand color and your brand color is more a red style. Let's do that one, and once you press enter, bam, the color picker will adjust the color of the bar. And same here, maybe you don't like this, maybe you want it in a more different color, maybe a grayish or lighter color. Enter that, and there you are. You can see the color is adjusting. So what we're going to do here is going to explore all of these options here. And what will be very important is, and you can see here right now, as we adjust here, we have this grayish color. We can play around with it more, but let's assume we wanted to have it black, which is the standard color. Here we are. This is what we're going to do. We're going to work with this right now. Before we start, let me tell you something quick. If you're interested in learning more about ChartJS and really dive deep in the basics of ChartJS, check out my Udemy course about ChartJS, which is a 10-hour course, goes deep in every topic of ChartJS. Alright, so now let's look here. By the way, if you want to look for the course, it's in the description box. You can find a link in there. Alright, so let's now look, what are we going to do if we're going to do this one here? We're going to make this chart, this gauge chart. First of all, we're going to do a few steps. We have a total of 11 steps here. Number 1, we're going to add the template. Number 2, we're going to add the ChartJS library, and we're going to add the basic chart. Number 3, we're going to create a card like this, and this card will consist where one side will have the canvas and the other side will have the input. And number 4, we're going to add the canvas in the card and adjust it to a donut chart if ever it's not. Number 5, adding ID values to the input. Number 6, connect the IDs with JavaScript. And number 7, connect the arrays together, the IDs with the arrays, so it will start to connect and recognize the values of these in our chart. Once we did that, we will create an add event listener, basically a on-click function or an on-change function. At the moment we adjust something, it will start to create an event or trigger an event. Number 9, create the update function. Number 10, fine-tune the donut chart with all the commands and advanced items. And finally, we're going to fine-tune the update function as well, because we have some tiny adjustments here that we can play around with. All right, so now you have this. Let's start, and we're going to start really with a blank HTML file. Here you can see this is it. So let's go and do step number one. Step number one is to create the Bootstrap template. So I'm going to almost duplicate this template here. We're going here to Bootstrap, and I'm using Bootstrap 5. Just go to getbootstrap.com, documents 5.0, and I like 5.0 more than anything else because they have the color picker here, which is really nice. All right, so we select here the introduction, getting started, and in here we scroll down and get the starter template. I'm going to copy the starter template so it copies all of these HTML codes, and we're going to insert them here. And as I paste this, you will get all of these items here. Remove all of this because this is just all redundant data or not necessary for us right now. Put some enters between, and then here we will just type in gauge chart in ChartJS 2.9. all right, and then in here, just for the sake of repeating, we're doing it here. What we're going to do more is I'm going to add up the background color here, and we make a column with the offset of 2 and 2 here. So basically this will be a column of 8. All right, so let's do that. We give the background color, we just put it in body just for simplicity's sake. We say background BG success. Once we did that, we're going to put in here a div, and this div will be a class. Now what we're going to do in here in this div, we say this class is column ID, column 8 offset 2. All right, and then within here, maybe we can do here margins bottom. I'll just do some margin bottom, margin top 3, so this will look nice. And we're going to add up here the cards. Div class, and there we are, and we will put in just here a card, and this will be test. Let's save this for now. We have this one here, maybe it could be in here basically, that's fine. Save this, go back here, refresh. All right, that looks slightly not that nice, but that's fine. All right, it's not that important. We did number one. Number two, let's start to add our ChartJS library and create a basic chart. For this, we go to chart.js, and in here we click get started. Once we click on get started, we're on chartjs.org with the basic here. Here you get some instructions about how to create a chart. And while this is fine, we could basically copy this text here, but we're not done yet because we need to get the JavaScript library of ChartJS. But I'll just copy this one, and you can copy this as well. This is a bar chart. We will change this later on. Doesn't matter. We just get the basics here. That's fine. And what I do like to I prefer to have our Bootstrap above the ChartJS. So in here, I'll just paste this, and this already has a script tag. That's nice. Let's indent this a bit, and you can see here this canvas. Well, we can leave it for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to get started, where we will have the ChartJS library. You can see it is 2.8. It's already in 2.9.4. You can copy this, and then you can adjust this to, if you copy this, and then we just put it here below. All right, always make sure this is below, and that this one is always above this part here before you activate the script of ChartJS. So you have this, you can put here 2.9.4, and that will be fine. So you can put in 2.9.4, that's fine. However, in my case, I already downloaded this file, so it would save us time for loading every time we refresh. So I will just type in this chart.min.js, since I already have this stored. Alright, so we got this, we got all of this stuff here now. Just put in here, let's look what's next. So once we have that, let's go back here. Alright, let's refresh. You can see right now we have something, but it looks horrible. Don't worry about that. Next, we're going to add the canvas in the cart. We're going to create a cart, and after we're going to add the canvas in the cart. So to do this, let's look what we need to do. If we go here up, you'll see that we have this gauge chart, and then there's a cart that consists here a column and another column here. One for the canvas, other one for the input. So that's what we're going to add up here. To do this, we can go in here, gauge chart. We can just make this smaller. I think H5 is fine. And then we put in here, I'll just put in here a horizontal line. All right. And what I will do here as well, we're going to make a div class. And then we put in here card body. So we get some space between there. There we are. And then I'll close this div. However, then in here, we'll be working on the column as well. So what we can do here, ChartJS for Bootstrap has a great structure for this in the card. So if we type in cards here, so we can click on this cards, and then we have the cards here with two sides, left and a right. So left side an image, right side the card, and that's exactly what I want to have. So we go in here, we scroll down more to the bottom, and then we have here the horizontal cards. All right, this is the one we have. Just ignore later on this. We're going to remove this, but we can just copy all of this. Or sorry, not all of that. We can just copy the second div. Starting from the second div, the row, till this one here. All right, because we only want the row part. So we can copy this. I'm going to put indentation here. Paste it in here. We have the indentation. All right. And in here we will set here the image. Well, we don't need this image. I'm going to change this column here, MD. Just put it column 6. And this one, column MD8, will be column 6 because it's 50% both sides. All right. So once we have that, we can copy here our canvas. You can see here the canvas. Let's cut that out. Go back in here, paste this in, and remove all of this excess information because it should be automatically generated. All right, we've got that. We have this part here. Let's remove all of this. And here will be our inputs. So here will be input. Let's save that and see how that looks like. Refresh. Starts to look far more better. Let's adjust now the input, or let's add up the inputs. How do we add up inputs? Go to Bootstrap and we go to forms. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the form control where we have 3 items. So if you really pay attention here, it's basically this here. So we have the cards here. So we add the add columns and the cards, add the values, and then after we're going to put in the IDs as well. But basically here's the card, or this part is a column number 2 for here, number 5, number 5. So this is again this is column 6, as this is 50% of the card, and then within that we divide it again. So let's go here to form control. If we scroll down a bit, you will see one with an inline form control, and that's exactly what we need. This is the inline form control where you have 3 items here. Beautiful. So we just copy this all, go back here, and paste that in there. There you are. And do an indentation, and within here we will have the following. This column auto can be removed or can be changed to 2. This one will be 5, 5. You can see here this label and this information here. This can be all removed. We don't need that. I will show you later on what we need. We delete all of these and this as well. I can just delete this. What we're going to do here is this input here is password. We say text, and the reason why text, let's look at our item here. Text. This will be color, input color, and this will be input number. So we say here input text, form control, that's fine. I'll just leave this for now blank. And then here we'll just leave that blank as well, or this is a placeholder, no need. I'll just leave that. So let's copy this one and put in this here, and this will be number. That's fine. Then in here we'll copy this as well, and here we'll say color. And this is the reason why I like Bootstrap 5 a lot more, because they have the input color, so they have a form control color. So if you go here to Bootstrap and we scroll down, or you can see on the side here select color, you will see here the class form control and form control color, which creates a nice clickable form or a color picker. And that's really beautiful. Exactly, nice consistent design. So we select this as the class because we need to add up that specific class as well. Once we did that, we save this. Let's go back to our file, refresh, and now you can see it starts to have the specific colors. Just no values associated to that, but that's no problem. That's what we're going to work on. Alright, so once we did this, we can see here before we continue, we need to have another one as well. So we make one more in here. Let's go back here. Let's copy this entire part within the form. Copy this, put in an enter, and then save this here. And let's save this. Once we did that, we have this now. So what we want to do now is at least give it a name. Let's say sales score 75, pointer thickness number 2, green, black. Alright. So we say here, here up, this will be green, but I will make here the value. I'll just indicate value and we use hex code because that will be useful for later on. So we say here value hashtag 009900 for green. This is RGB, where basically this 99 is the green. Alright, once we have that one here, we will say another value, and this will be the sales score. Once we've got that, we go next one here to the numbers, and the numbers will be a value of 75. 75. Let's go down here. Here we have the number because this will be our pointer thickness. So I just copy this text here. This will be black or 0000 6 times, and it's number 2. So we're going here and we're going to make this here number. We'll say here value equals number 2, and the value here, or this one here, is value equals pointer thickness. I saved this or copied this, so I'm going to paste this in here. And then finally here the ID, or this is the color value number, not the ID but the value for the color, will be black, which is hashtag 6 times 0. So 0, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and then you can do a shortcut of 3 as well. It's up to you what you want or prefer. Alright, once we got that, we can go back here and refresh, and there you are. So we are now very close to what we need. Now let's look what's the next part here. So number 5 is, oh sorry, before we even do that one, we have to change the chart into the donut chart, which should be here done as well. Sorry about that, we skipped that part. So in this part here, the JavaScript, we have the chart commands, and then here we just say donut chart, donut. We save this and go back here, refresh. Now we have the donut chart, and of course it's not completely done, but this is a good starting point. So now what we need is, let's go back here, add the IDs in the input. So we have created the inputs, now we should have the IDs in the input. And what are the IDs? Well, to simplify the IDs, this will be the sales color, this will be the sales score, and this will be the number. Alright, so what we will do here is, we're going to match this up in the IDs here. And for now, what we're going to do is I'm going to change the variable here, the var, into as a constant, because this is a more common way to write now the constant, or to declare a variable as a constant. Alright, so we have this. Before we even continue, let's go up here. Say here, this will be the sales color. And here we have the sales value. This can be an ID of sales text. This is basically the text. And then we have here the sales number or percentage. Basically it's percentage because we're going to work with 100% max, or a score of 100. So we have the sales number, that's fine. Alright, here we will give it another ID name. This is basically the pointer. Yes, this is the pointer color. Then we have here, this will be the text, so this will be the pointer text or pointer thickness. Basically it's the thickness itself, but we just call it the pointer text. And then finally we have here the pointer thickness. This will be our thickness itself, or the pointer number. We can do one or the other, it doesn't matter so much, but pointer thickness, basically this is referring to the thickness, how thick the value should be, but we can make this a number, maybe that's more appropriate. Just a pointer number, so to be as consistent as possible and no confusion. Alright, so we've got this, we can save this now, we have the ID. And what I want to do here, at least to fine tune it, because basically we have only 3 colors. Yes, if you look here, we only have 3 colors. We have this color, that one, and this. So let's start and work with that as well to make only 3 values and just give them the basic values here. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, remove all of these access. We don't have this. We're going to delete all of these here, these labels. Alright, then we have this here. This is not necessary. The background colors will be different. We will assign them. So basically here, this will be eventually, if this would be 75, here the data should be 73, and this would be 2, and this would be the remaining difference, it's 25. That's basically what we want to have. We can see here all of these options here. Right now we can remove this. We don't need any of these because this was based on a line chart, so we don't need this. Let's refresh. Oh, sorry. Let's refresh here. As you can see now, it starts to get better. However, we need to now assign the colors, the design, everything, etc., etc. So let's start to assign the colors and the values to this. So how to do that? Well, first of all, we can now get the IDs. We already gave them the IDs. So we say here, const. And what will be this ID? This will be the ID, or the variable will be exactly the same. The constant will be exactly the same. Let's say here, sales color. We copy here the sales color. Then we go here, const sales color equals document dot get element by ID. Make sure you pay attention to the capitalized letters. And then in here, what is the ID name? Well, that's sales color, to simplify it. Alright, so we have that. Then we have another const. And then we say here, pointer color equals get document dot element by ID, or document dot get element by ID, and exactly the same. There we are. Alright, so once we have these, we want to get also the text. And besides the text, we also can get the colors, because those are, oh sorry, the colors, the values. So we have the text, and although the text will not be necessary, as you can see here, we will be hiding it. So we can basically skip this one. And we can do more the value here, which should be eventually shown here. Alright, so that's what we can do. So we can skip the text part, but if you want to do the text part, it's exactly the same. You get the const. You give it a variable name or a constant name and get the ID of it. So if that would be here, pointer text. However, we're going to just copy this and then I will put it here. So just for simplicity and for organizational sake, I'm going to copy this here and then just say here, color codes. And here will be the gauge values. Alright, so that will be it. So then we say here, sales. This was, if I'm not mistaken, sales number as the ID, and this will be the pointer number. And if you look at it, this is the pointer number, that's correct, which is the number input, and here's the sales number. Alright, so that is correct. So what we say here, this one here, adjust that. This here, adjust that. Alright. So to get these values out, and then we need to put these values in our items here, or in our, basically, we want to put these in the data here. So let me show you exactly how we're going to do that. So first of all, let's say we want to get the color code. How do we get the color code? Let me show you here a way. So we say const, let's say sales color code. And that one's what we want, is basically this. Oh, so it's the sales color, that value. That will extract the exact value here. And this will be important. Let me show you now. If we're going to do a console.log, so we're going to record that or check how it looks like. We're going to get the sales color, and we're also going to do another one. It will be the sales color code. You will see the difference in those. Oh, just make sure that's correctly spelled. Alright, sales color code. Save this. If you refresh this, nothing happens here, but let's open up our developer tab here. And now you can see we have two messages here. Message number 1 is the sales color ID, and you can see it extracts the entire HTML tag matching with that. So input, type, etc., etc., and is the value. But the next one will show you only the value, and that's the one we extracted, specifically the value. Why? Because the JavaScript array value must be specifically this and no text between there. If not, it will give you an error. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to get this here. Basically, this is already the answer. We're going to copy this, the sales value, and we can see here the colors. So you can see here, these are the colors. We're going to remove this. I'm going to put in here because this one will become the green color. And then we have a border color as well, exactly the same. So then it's the question, what about the pointer? Pointer number, we do exactly the same. We copy the pointer number, oh sorry, not the pointer number, the pointer color. Make sure you get the pointer color. Remove all of this. This is all excess baggage now because that was just for demo purposes to show you. So now here, pointer color dot value. Getting all of these. Do exactly the same here. And then finally, what color will we give the final value? This is light gray. You can give it any color you want. I'm going to give it a light gray color. And this is a string. String means single quotation between there. Let me say light gray. Alright, same story here. Delete this and say light gray. Alright. We can remove the border width here. This has no value at all. Delete that stuff. Alright, so now we're done here. We can remove this additional comma here. We have this all. Alright, so now we're done. Remove this extra comma here. This is redundant. Save this. Let's refresh. Oh, let's go here and refresh. And now you can see it starts to look more better. We're not done yet, of course, but it starts to look more better. So this is 73, this is 2, and this is 25, which is okay, but we need to still put in the values. Alright, so now how we're going to do the values. So to get the values, we need to use a formula. And the reason why is this. We want to make sure that if we put in 75 here, the black pointer thickness should still have impact on this value. So if this is 75 in total, the black must be 2, and here, or whatever the thickness is, that should be deducted from here. So this green will be 75 minus the pointer thickness value here. So we're going to do this here by creating a new value. We say const, and this will be the pointer value or the pointer thickness. So this is the pointer, and we can just say pointer number value, or maybe not even a pointer number value, but the sales value, because this will be fixed anyway, is the number we assign it to. So we say here sales number, the net value. Let's say net. All right. Then what is that? Basically, it's the following. We will have this number, the sales number, dot value minus the pointer number. So once we have this, we will get a specific number. Oh, make sure that this is also dot value. So we get a specific number here. So we have the sales value, or this sales this constant, the sales number net, put in here. Remember, now here you might say, well, do I need to put in dot net here as well, just like with the others? No, the reason why is we already calculate the value. So JavaScript understands this is already a number value. For the pointer, it's a different story. The pointer is basically this dot value. So what about the final value here, which is called the gray area? So let's call it the gray area. So the gray area needs to be calculated. Remember, we are not allowed to have more than 100 points. This means that everything, there should be a formula by default, 100 minus this numbers here, or basically just the sales number, which is 75. 100 minus 75 equals 25, and that's the number we're going to put in here. So that variable will be here. We're going to make a const, and this const will be gray number. And gray number, you can do it in echo and in alpha, depends on if you prefer British or UK or US style, doesn't matter. Alright, so we have const gray number equal 100 minus, which one will you do minus? You do minus basically the sales number dot value. So you have this one here, this semicolon. Alright, so this gray number can be replaced this. We save this now, and let's look at the result. Save this. Alright, so now you can see this works perfectly. So what happened if we are adjusting this here? So let's double test that or validate this and make this 55. If we save this, refresh, now 55, as you can see, the green becomes 3 or 53. and the pointer has a thickness of 2, so that is together 55. So this is correct, it works perfectly. Alright, we're almost there. Now we're done with this. We have adjusted the most important part. No, this is the one we have, sorry. Now we are here. Let's make sure we are on the right one. Alright, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong tab. That was my tab with the codes. But this is the right one because this is the one where we're working on. And here we are. Alright, so we have these here. So now we're here. And then now what we need to do is the following. Basically here now we can check. Let's click on this tab here. We already connected the arrays as the values. And the question now is, can we create an add event listener? And this add event listener will trigger the moment we input any values in here. Alright, so what will be the trigger value here? This will be on change. So if you are used to it, and in my other videos I tend to use that, but I removed that now. I stopped doing that because it's not the right way to do JavaScript. It's an easy way to do it. It's the old way, but the newer way is always separate JavaScript from HTML. So that's what we're going to do. This is why I'm going to use now add event listeners. So we're going to put it in here. We're going to get here, and then we will say here what we want. Well, what are we going to do, or how will we do it? To make an add event listener, basically we have these options here. We have the IDs here. So this ID, basically when someone is on this ID, which is this item here, and changes the color, on change it should adjust the color. And so to adjust that, so this is the on change, the trigger or the trigger to activate or trigger a function. So that's what we're going to do here. So we'll say here we get this one, that the moment someone selects this ID, the color ID, and adjusts this input. So we say your sales color dot, and then we will say here add event listener. Yes, pay attention to capitalize echo in event and capitalize L for Lima in listener. And then we say here, what are we going to do here? We're going to say the following. Double quotation or single quotation, probably single quotation is more better. This is on which event will it be triggered. So which triggering it is? This one is on select or on change. That's the best one. On change, comma. When we do the change, which function are we going to fire up or trigger? So we say here the function, this will be update chart. That will be the function name, semicolon. Alright, so once we have this, we can do it basically the same here up. Well, let's put that here together. So we have that nicely organized. So we have this one. Same here for the pointer. If you want to give the pointer, instead of black, maybe a red color, that would be fine as well. We can copy this as well. So I'm going to copy this, put it here, paste this in here, get the pointer color, store it in here. So this is on change. So what is the next one as well? So once we have that, we need to do as well the same story with the values of the numbers. Right? So these two numbers here, the moment we trigger one of these, it should trigger as well a update chart. So we're going to do the same one here. I'm just going to copy this part here, put it down here below, and just say here sales number, put it in here, and pointer number, put it in there. Alright, so once we have that, we have now basically indicated we have a update chart or a function. So now what we need to do is we're going to create a function, and we're going to create this function here below. So how will we do this function? Well, basically it's the following. We'll say here function, and then we say here, what is the function name? Update chart. And then here we put in parentheses and curly braces and then semicolon, and between here we're going to put in what we want to adjust. Well, let's look what we want to adjust. Well, basically we want to adjust these adjustments here, or basically specifically here, the formulas here. So what we need to do is, and I'm going to show you here, what we're going to do is, we're going to say the following. We're going to create a new const or let, and this let will be the updated values, yes, based on this data here. So we say here, update value or values equals what exactly? Well, the data here. This is our data. Put it in here, semicolon. So these numbers will be updated or triggered the moment something happens here on change. Alright, and then we will get these numbers here. So where we get these numbers here is basically the formula that we use. However, here with the data, we have here some items. So you can see here we have these items here. So we need to use some of these formulas as well to extract them. So we're going to copy these because this is basically the core of the formula. I'm going to put it in here below, in here as well, because we need to make sure that every time there's an adjustment, we're not only going to update these, but we need to get the formula out of it as well. So this formula has to be used as well, so we just put in the let value. And in here, now it starts to figure out the number. So basically, this formula here is being reused in here. So once we have this, we can do the following. Because now we have this, we understand exactly what to do. Or we have the formula, it knows how to calculate it. Where do we want to insert it? So this is very important because here is basically the following, what we need to do. We're going here in my chart. Basically, this is the const value, my chart, and from my chart we go to data, data sets, and update this specific part here, data. Yes, so we're going to use this as our starting point here, which is my chart, and then we say dot. And let's look here, data, because there it is, and next dot data sets, and then the data sets here, because that's this one here, is an array in an array. Basically, it has another array in here. You could have multiple data sets, but we only have the first one. The first data set equals 0 and dot. Once we have that, we go here to data. We copy this. And then we say this equals the latest updated values, which is basically our formula here with all the information. And then here, what we can do now is we say my chart dot update. So we're going to update this now. We're done. Once this works, we have to update it. Let's save this. Go back here and refresh. And as you can see, it gives you some errors here. So let's see what happened here. And we can see here we have some incorrect typing. I guess I copy it and it does some weird items. Let's go back here. So where are we now? Let's double check here. This is in line 68, sales color. All right. Let's go back here up. Sorry about this. You can see here, this is the color pointer. This is the pointer color. We need to remove this, correct this. Let's double check if this one is also correct. So this is already correct. Let's save this. Now go back, refresh. All right. So there's no errors here. Let's see what happens if we add up. As you can see now, we add up, and let's see what happens if we do this. And you can see we still didn't put a lock on the minimum and maximum value here, so probably here we can go as big as possible. And then, of course, what happens here is we'll get a negative value, but in a pie chart, there's no negative value, so ChartJS starts to see a positive value here as well. All right, so we're going to solve those as well later on, but our function is working fine. So let's do the same for the color. So what I'm going to do here now is for the color, we do exactly the same. We have here the gray numbers. Let's double check here the colors. Where are the colors? We have the color codes in here. And what we need to do here is the colors here. We're going to copy this, go down, and then we say here the following as well. We'll put in here, let's double check, we say let, and then here will be update color, or colors, equals this, and then I'm going to remove this, and the reason why we copied this was, these are basically the values we want. We maintain this. These are the values based on whatever we select. So once we have that, we have the update colors. Let's save this and see how it responds. See if it works. If it doesn't work, we can connect that. Oh, you can see right now it doesn't work. And the reason why is we still need to connect it properly because we need to get the colors here. Oh, of course, I realize I make a mistake here because we're not updating the colors here. Doesn't make sense. There is no update command. So what we have to do here is basically the same thing. And here's the important one. What we want to update is, we copied this here, but we want to update the background color and the border color. So we go here to My Chart, Data, Data Set, and then background color, and the same story for border color. So let's go here, My Chart, Data, Data Sets, background color with capital letter C, make sure that's matched, and this one here will be border color. Alright, that works. And then we say here, update colors. Yes, this is the variable, we put it in here. And as we do this, we can save this. Now we can refresh, and now let's double check again. Let's put that in here, enter. There we are, that works beautifully. Let's change this into a other color, enter, there we are. Alright, so this works beautiful. So now let's play around with it. What can we do more? What we have to do is eventually, let's go back here because we have created our function, we update our function. Let's fine tune our donut chart. So we did everything here. There will be still some more adjustments here. I will show you later on. However, let's go and now check our donut chart. The first thing what we want to do, if we look here, we don't have a legend and we also don't have tooltips. So we're going to remove the tooltips and we're going to remove the legend here as well. So we go here to options, and in options you can type enter, and then you say here legend, and then in legend you can say here false. Let's save that, refresh, there you are. Now we remove the legend. So the next one will be the tooltips. So we say tooltips, and then if you wonder how I get all of these are built in here. So let's go here, you can see here legend, display true, we have legend false, which is fine. We can do it here as well. This may be even a better one. If we have here display true, because this is the global legend. Alright, so we have in options legend, we can also say here legend, and then within here display. This is probably the more elaborate way and more better. We say false. Alright, and then here we put another comma and we say tooltips. So if you go to tooltips, click here, you go to the tooltips options, see the options, tooltips, this is the namespace, and then here enable. By default it's set on true, so that it's a boolean as a type, meaning it's true or false. And it's tooltips with an S, just to make sure. Here you can see here with an S. And then we say here enable false. Alright, so once we did that, save that, go back here, refresh. Now we have no more tooltips, we have no more legend. We're almost done here. Let's start and play around with the options of the chart, or the pie chart specifically. So to do this, we need to go here and we search for pie chart. Donut and pie chart. You can see these are the commands here, and what I want to do here is we're going to cut out the shape of the chart, and basically it shows here the information here. The difference between a as you can see, a donut and pie chart are effectively the same class in ChartJS, but they have one different default value, which is cut out percentage. And that's basically how much of the center is being cut out. For default, or this defaults to 0 for pie chart, which makes this one a complete pie, and 50% for donut. What we did here is, well, let's go here. We have here a very big percentage being cut out, so it looks more nicer as a gauge chart. So what we're going to do here is exactly the same. Basically, we could copy this one. Let's go here and look for percentage cut out. Percentage cut out here. Percentage cut out is of the chart. Let's cut out the middle. All right, for donut 50, pie 0 number. So 100 is 100%. We're going to do 90%. So we're going to copy this. And this is in the option configurations. So we go here, and in the options, you can do it here below. We say cut out percentage column, and then we put in here 90, comma, save. Once we did that, let's look here, Save. There we are. Now we have a more thinner donut chart. Alright, so now what we have to do is we're going to work with another command here. Basically, we're going to work with the, let's see if we can find it here. We have the rotation or the angle drawing. That's the one we're going to do. We're going to play with the rotation now. For the rotation, it's a slightly tricky one because the rotation here uses the mat and pi and the circumference. And probably the circumference, we should have that on first before we do the rotation. I realize, let's copy that one for now. We add those because this one will be the sweep to allow the arc of the arrows. Sweep to allow arcs to cover. Basically, it's the bow. Yes, the bow that we have here. We want to have 50% cut. So what we're going to do here, we do rotation, we put in on 1, comma, and then we add on the circumference. And this one, we're going to put in first 1, and then comma here, and let's save it and just see what happens. Alright, the moment we put in 1, we get this value here. So how does this really work? This works basically with a formula. And this formula is pi times 2. Alright, so I'm going to show you this. And to show you, I have to make sure we have a console.log. We're going to show the formula in here. Let's save this. And then I'm going to do here and refresh here and open up. So as you can see here right now, we get this value of 6.2. So how do we get a complete version of this? So circumference, that's 6.2, which is the pi number times 2, if I'm not mistaken, is a complete circle. So if we save this, refresh, now we have a complete circle. Just ignore the rotation. Let's remove the rotation for now. As you can see, so the rotation will start here back. 6.2. So if we want to have a half version, we need the half of the pi. Luckily, and this is a quick warning as well, or a heads up, in chart version 3.2, ChartJS version 3.0, they work with degrees, 360 degrees, and where you can just do 180 degrees, which is the half of a circle. Makes more sense. It's probably more better. I understood why they took pi in the beginning, assuming that pi is the way. Is the way to draw a chart. So what we need is the half one here. So let's get this. We say instead of pi, we want the half. We say, instead of half is 2, because by default it is 2, right? So the formula is 2. So now we're going to put in half. So I'm just going to copy this, or the half one of this. It's not 0.5, but just 1. If I save this, let's refresh. You can see this is the value here. And if I copy this value, this is the one we can put in the circumference. Once we did that, save this, refresh, and now we have a half chart. Alright, so once we got that, we can go and work with the next one, which is the rotation. So the rotation works again with a slightly more complicated matter, because it is as well a formula, and in this case it is the pi formula minus 0.5. Let's look at this as well. We put it in here, and let's figure out now here what happens. So if we get this, let's save that and go back here, refresh, nothing happens because we didn't use anything, but this is the default value. So this is the default value, this value here. So if I do rotation, you can see that's why the rotation was so weird here. It moves slightly here because the default value is minus 1.5, which is the 50% of a pi. So we're going to put this in here. And now we are back here to normal. So how do we move this? So if this is 50% of a pi, and we need to move this here more, and this will probably be a more negative one. So it should be 25% of the negative. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure. Let's try and figure out, right? So let's do this. All right, so this would be this. So this would be the negative version of 75%, of 0.75%. Let's see if I'm correct here. All right, almost correct. Apparently we need to do another 75. So that would mean if this is 0.5, this value should be -1. Alright, so let's see here. Let's say it one more time. This, apparently this is just that one, which makes sense. And that's why there was a pi in this one. The circumference was the pi times 2. So this would be then -1 to move it here. Alright, so as we move that, that's the arc. The arc starts to work perfectly here. So that is how we work with that. So you have to play around with it. Use the console log to calculate this. Alright, so now we are very close to what we want. Let's close this. Let's increase this. Oh, and for some reason here the values are not yet working. Let's double check here what happened. Did we miss out something, or did we remove something unintentionally? Let's double check here what's going on. So we have our update colors, update values. Okay, now I can see here this is the update values, update colors. And then we say here update colors. Alright. As you can see here, I hope you saw that, and maybe you saw it already while I'm making the video. I didn't pay attention here. I removed the update values here. Don't do that. So they should be here, and this should be data again. So what I did was I overwrite it because we use this twice here. The reason why I use this twice here was for the background color and border color. But of course you need one for the data as well. If not, it does not update. Refresh here. Let's remove this. Double check. Alright, there we are. So as we adjust this, you can see here now there's still some items we can fine tune. Let's fine tune those. Let's put a minimum value and maximum value on here. I want to make the pointer maximum of 5 points, minimum of 1 or 0, and this one should be a maximum of 5 of 100 because this is 100%. Alright, so we go here to our input. And in our input, we have the number here. You can see here, we say minimum equals, we can do here minimum equals 0, and this will be max equals 100. And the same will be for the pointer number. Value is 2. We say minimum equals 0, and the maximum for the pointer will be 5 points. That will be thick enough to be shown. Save this, refresh. Now we are almost done. You will see still we might have to do some fine tuning as well. So if I scroll, go up here, look what happened here. If you go on this here, oh, did I refresh this correctly? No. No. Alright, so let's double check what I'm doing here. Sorry. As I talk, I don't pay attention to what I type. Sorry about that. So if I increase this now, 5 is max. If I decrease this now, 0 is min. And this should be, if I do 9 here, alright, and then I'll put in here to 0, that's correct. If I do here 99, this goes to 100. And if I put in here a value, that is fine. Alright, so if you really look carefully here, you might see it slightly. You can see here this gray color here. Yes, and I can imagine maybe you don't want that. Yes, if I look at it, well, I probably also don't want it. Well, and the reason why it happens is basically this. Let me show you here. Let's remove the legend. Here, let's put this back on. Alright, so you can see here. The reason why it's because it's just a legend here. So if I do 99 here, and then I go up this. So what we can do is we can use the if statement to convert this into the color as desired. Or basically to convert this to black color if the value is 100. Because so we make this color black here, or this grayish, we will be matching to whatever color is here. Alright, so that's what we can do. So let's go here. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to use a if statement here. And this if statement will be dependent on the gray number here. So we say here, if, and then we say if, open parentheses, if gray number, or sorry, if the gray number, yes, that's right, equals, or not equals, double equal 0, in that case, what we'll do is, we'll give the gray, we give it a gray color, and then we should have here also a gray color. So I'm going to do this. We're going to make a new let. We say gray color equals light gray. I'm going to give this a light gray by default. Semicolon here. And then if the gray color equals 0, what we will say is that the gray number is 0, which is the value of 0. If it becomes 0, basically means that the sales number here is 100%. Then the gray color should be a different color value. Equals is, and then here we can say, what do we want to do here? We will get the value of our color here. Where is that? The update colors. Yeah, so we just get the pointer value color is this. So it will become black basically. Else, if it's not that case, what are we going to do? Oh, make sure you have a semicolon here. And else, gray color equals gray, light gray. Alright, so once we have this, all we need to do is we just remove this one here. We're going to put in gray color. So once we did this, we have all of this there. Save this, refresh, and now let's look. Let's make this 80 and then go up. As you can see, it starts to become black. So if you would change this, let's say this should be red, enter. Now this becomes red only on 100. If we lose or reduce the value, you can see now it becomes a other color. And this is basically how you can do it. And I can imagine, well, imagine you have this here. This is a very important one. If you don't have here, you can make another if statement. If the pointer is 0, in that case, make this green completely or make this the matching color here. We can do that as well. Let's explore how to do that one as well. So we have complete. So to solve this or to do this, let's go here. What we need to do is we need to understand the logic. So, alright, we have this if statement, and basically what we want to do is if the situation is exactly as what we want. So for example, if we have our pointer here in 0, then this should become green or whatever the color is selected here. So what we say here is a double if statement or double if condition. If the condition is a gray number, if gray number equals 0, and then we say and the pointer number value equals 0, in that case what I really want to do is I want to get the gray color and make the gray color not the pointer color but the sales color. Alright, so I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Basically it's the sales color because that's the green color. So this is the sales color then. So once we have that, we have the sales color value. And then we say else if, and then now we do another statement. And if that's not the case, because only the gray color is 0, in that case, let's put the enter here between so you can see more clear. In that case, our gray color variable equals the pointer color. So basically just this one here up. The sales color, that's the sales color, oh sorry, sales color, and this is the pointer color. So we're going to get this one, it's the pointer color here, or just here down as well, as well. So we say the gray number is 0, then the gray color becomes pointer color dot value. So only if this one is 0, but the pointer color must maintain as a black dot. There's like anything between 1 and 5. Alright? And else, if that's not the case, make the gray color light gray by default. Alright, so we have this. So this is a slightly tricky one here. Let's save this, go back here, refresh, and let's play around. Alright, so let's say 100. So put in here, you can see now it becomes black. That's fine. What if I say we have no more this? There you are. Now you can see also the legend becomes green here. And so what happens if I say this is now red? Enter. Red happens, okay. What about this? You can see this yellow one becomes red as well. That's fine. But if I move it here, 99, we're below 100, then it starts to become again gray. And what happened now if I change this into, let's say, a very nice blue? Alright. 100 becomes red. I'm going to put a 0. It becomes blue. There you are. So now you learn how you can play and make it more interactive. You learn how you can create your own gauge chart in ChartJS. So this is a tiny little secret, But knowing this and make it like this kind of dashboard, because basically this is a tiny dashboard, you can play around with a lot of items. Let's remove this one first, and then we're really done. Here, enable the tooltips. Well, I don't want to enable any tooltips. And I want, oh sorry, I want to false this, and the legend display false. All right, that's correct, that's correct. Refresh, everything works fine. 100, enter. If I make this red, enter. 0, enter. There you are. This is how you can work around. You can, this is by setting a fixed value 100. Imagine you need 360 degrees because you have a circle. Then you can put in here the values. You just set the value here. Yes, this. And if you would do this, this could be, for example, 200. Then you have to fix that here as well as 200. You can make a variable out of it if necessary. So we can go here. And now, as you can see, now we're 55, and if we're now 150, there we are. We can go up, and if you click on going up more, oh, does that work? Oh, sorry, of course, this is not allowed here because we have this value here as the min or the max. Let's put in our max, adjust that as well. And the max value should be 200 as well in that case. Refresh, make this 199. All right, you go back here, go up, bam. There you are. So I hope you enjoyed this ChartJS video tutorial helping you out to learn better about ChartJS. You learn really a lot more advanced stuff here, learn how to play also with JavaScript along in the canvas of ChartJS. If you like videos like this, check out my comments, my description box for my ChartJS course, where we go deep in all different aspects of ChartJS, which is absolutely phenomenal. And if you have questions about this, well, I don't blame you. This is a quite complicated matter. Put in your questions below in the comment section. I'll make sure I'll reply back to you. And if ever necessary, I'll try to make a video with your situation. And if you have any other thing, just like, or if you want to learn more about ChartJS, there's other videos like my YouTube channel, and you'll be updated with the latest videos.